Welcome to New Life Live with host and founder of New Life Ministries, Stephen Arterburn. New Life Live is dedicated to transforming lives one at a time, thanks to the giving hearts of you, our listeners. Our goal is to provide you with wisdom from God's Word to give you hope and help in life's hardest places. If you have a question you'd like to ask today, our phone lines are open. Call 1-800-229-3000. That number again is 1-800-229-3000. Now here's Steve.
Well, hello. Welcome, everybody. New Life Live. This is Larry Sonnenburg. I'm sitting in for Steve today, and I'm sitting here with Milan Yerkovich.
Hey,
Hello,
Larry.
Milan.
How are you?
Doing great.
I might add that you are the president of New Life Ministries.
Oh, please do. I want everybody to know that.
Well, no, I think it's important that you understand who you are. And, Steve is the amazing host and founder, and you are the president, and you do a great job
thank you.
At running this organization. So
we got a great team. It's fun to be here, and Fashionista just walked in with
Hello,
the new
Mr.
hat.
President.
Okay.
Hats off to you.
How are you?
I'm good.
hello, Dr. Jill
a little
Hubbard.
rained on.
Yes, it's great to have you here.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
Happy day, couple of days after Christmas.
I know.
Well, before we won't take any calls until after the break. I just wanted to encourage folks, if you had some Christmas struggles, what kind of Christmas struggles do you expect people might be calling about? I wrote down a few. I'm just curious what you guys think might have been a struggle for somebody this Christmas.
Well, you want to read yours?
Yeah. Well, I think
I saw that blank look.
Just kidding.
Plans not going the way you thought,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
So disappointment is
Yes,
often
yeah.
on Christmas. Family relations maybe spiraling, right?
Yeah, it forces you into relationships or being with people that you don't normally spend time with for one reason or another.
And often don't want to, but you feel an obligation to.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. And so Christmas and the holidays, people start getting very tense on our radio show with their calls starting in October and November, because they realize it's forced family.
Well, and even if you do spend some time with them, I think it's a time of evaluating relationship. I found this in my family, even with my kids. We kind of debriefed afterwards, and it's a time to look at, okay, how much did I invest in this relationship this year?
Yeah.
And
So you want to talk about who this was?
and do I feel connected to these people? And,
Right.
So a time of evaluating, which isn't all bad,
Well, but see,
and looking at our part, right?
yeah, but that's you. See, one of the wonderful things about you is you've learned how to be self-reflective and to think and contemplate and assess and evaluate.
And my kids have learned that. Yeah.
Yes, they have, as a result of being with you. And that's a great skill. And then to assess, then what do we want to do next year? And to be able to use it as an opportunity, as you said, to grow, learn, observe.
But then you have to remember it for next year.
Yeah, I know. You don't want to lose it within the year, but
There's also empty chairs sometimes, whether it was just people that didn't want to get together because of the pandemic stuff, the COVID, or somebody passed this past year. And, grandma or
Yep, we had a loss
somebody,
in our family. Yeah.
and that always causes a little stir in your emotions.
Yeah, I'm close to a family who lost a 40-year-old mom, a few weeks before Christmas. And just devastating to the family. And she'd battled with cancer for several years. And but she loved the Lord with all her heart. And yet there's a big empty chair there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And a vacuum that will be there for a long time.
Growing up, my bigger family gatherings always resulted in an argument somewhere. I had Dad that had certain thoughts and feelings, and if you didn't agree, he had a tendency to get loud and yell, and it was, I always remember, especially if it moved into a political front.
Oh, yeah.
So if you had any of those, give us a call, 800-229-3000 or anything else, and we'll be back right after this.
I feel blessed to have had this opportunity for my needs to be met, connecting with other women who are fighting the same fight hoping for healthy marriages and growing closer to the Lord on their journey.
My name is Shelly Martinkus, and I want to personally invite you to the Restore Workshop. If you have been affected by betrayal, it might be that your husband has been looking at pornography, it might be an emotional, physical affair. I would love for you to come join us.
I feel encouraged and hopeful that even in my struggle, I am enough.
You will leave with hope, with a community of sisters ready to support you, and you will also leave with tools to move you forward on this journey.
Through the sharing in our small group, I realize that I am not alone.
Please don't hesitate. Pick up the phone, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. I would love to see you there.
The Restore Workshop is being held online Saturday, February 27th. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to find out more. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back and we're ready to take your call. I just wanted to encourage you that you can go to our YouTube channel, www.youtube.com. You can listen or watch this on YouTube, and you can subscribe to the program or subscribe to the channel, and you can look at past New Life Live shows, Going Deeper episodes, Life Recovery Today episodes, and such. So check us out at YouTube. Okay, let's talk to Susan. Susan's on line 1, listens on Sirius XM, lives in Cincinnati, Ohio. Susan, how can we help you?
Good morning. I listen to your show all the time, and it's very helpful, but, you know, I was explaining I lost my daughter last December. Who was, and I'm sorry, I don't mean, who was 36, and today's her birthday. And she would have been 37. And I'm really struggling with the grieving process. And, you know, I'm a Christian, and, you know, God has helped me through this past year. But it's like this last month has just been so hard. And I just wondered if there's some scripture you can give me or some advice that you can give me so that I can get over the feeling. I just feel like I just don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, Susan, I think one of the worst pains ever is a mom losing a child at whatever age, because a mother's love is just indescribable, right? And so... Right. So it's one of the worst things to grieve. And I think that you don't get over it. You know, you get through it. It's a new chapter. But I think, you know, there's a portion of that pain. And part of it is the desire to remember, you know, to not forget her. A portion of that pain stays with us. And so, you know, but I think it's, you know, it's the loss of the void of not having her with you. You know, I think to be able to shift your thinking to, you know, our worst day on this earth, the day you lost your daughter, is her best day, right? As she enters into heaven in the arms of Jesus. And I'm assuming that she's a Christian. And so, you know, she is doing great, but now you have to endure this fallen world. This world that really isn't our home. We're, you know, that song, "This world is not my home, I'm just a passing through." And so, you know, that's what you are doing. And so your plight is to endure, right? And to do the most that you can do while you're here. You know, I think when we experience great loss or any type of tragedy, God doesn't waste that. He uses that. Now, it's only been a year for you. I think you're still in a place of needing to receive and needing people to be able to talk to about your daughter and, you know, kind of remembering her well, the things that you delighted in her growing up, the things that made her uniquely her, right? To be able to comment on those things with trusted people who won't just shush you or tell you, you know, she's gone now or, you know, get over it. But we'll let you remember, and then to do things that are symbolic of your relationship and connection to her. Right? And that can look different. Grieving is different for everyone. So when I was 17, I lost a dad. And so what I would do is I would go to the cemetery and I'd make these little signs. And those pitchforks you get from flower arrangements? I'd make little signs on his birthday. I'd do little things and I'd put it there. And one day somebody who had also visited the gravesite said, Jill, he's not there. Why do you keep doing that? And it's like, it's my way of grieving. That's my last touchstone of him. And I did that for about a year. And then I didn't need to do that anymore. But everybody does what they need to do to say goodbye. And the goodbye is not just a one moment. It's a series of goodbyes.
Process.
Right? And then, the gratitude of having known that person. You also have to add that in. Would you have rather not known this person? Would you have rather not had your daughter? You didn't get a choice in how many days she was on this earth, right? That's in the Lord's hand.
Right.
And, do we trust him? Do we trust him that his timing is perfect?
Milan, what would you add? Anything?
Well, Jill, that was beautiful. And Jill, what you did for your dad, you did for you.
Oh, I did for me, yeah.
Right.
Yes,
you
exactly.
did for your grieving process.
Yes.
And it is different for everyone. Susan, I'm so sorry. I have my own grown daughters and sons that are that age. And I can't imagine losing one of my grown sons or daughters. And today is her birthday. That accentuates the pain.
And the anniversary of her passing.
Absolutely. But you ask an important question. You said, how do I get over it? And the answer is you can't. The stronger or the depth of the loss is equal to the depth of the bonding that you have with that person. And if we're not bonded with people, we can kind of skip along rather quickly when a person dies because we're not tied to them with our hearts, our minds, and our souls. I have some friends. I have some friends that lost a son, and there's not a day that goes by that they don't grieve the loss of their son, and it's been 7 years, and it's different. Like Jill said, there were stages. And the first year is the worst one because you have to go through these remembrance times of Mother's Day and Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween and birthdays and all these different things that bring up those memories. But I think one of the things that I heard Jill say, which is really important, is to lean in to the love you have for this person and celebrate what you had, and to, instead of trying to get rid of a feeling, let it be there, and even invite it. God gave us grieving. He gave us tears, and tears come out, and when we grieve, we feel better. And so I would just have to say, I can't even remotely imagine what you're going through. I have not gone through that myself. But I do know, having vicariously gone through grieving over the last 45, 50 years with people in our own family as well, it is something that you have to just allow it to be there and not want it to just go away or try to get rid of it or sweep it under a rug. But to actually, as Jill was saying, in a sense, celebrate the relationship. And find joy in those things. Even laugh about the silly things your daughter did, or so on and so forth. And remember the beauty of her.
And also, have you gone to a grief group?
Well, I started with a grief group, and then all of that got stopped because of the corona thing. And we did some Zoom meetings, but we haven't gotten back into those fully yet. And
I think those are important.
I am hoping to get into another one.
Yeah, I wish you would, because there's something, Susan, to be said for what the Bible says, where it says, mourn with those who mourn and weep with those who weep. It doesn't say to be alone in that process. It says to have people around us.
And God brings people who can walk those journeys with us. They aren't always the same people or the people we think might be the ones, but God always brings somebody along.
And God brought us into Susan's life today, just to join her for a few moments.
Yeah.
Susan, I'd like to send you, we have a perspective. It's a CD that Jill and Henry Cloud did on grief. And we use that a lot for a lot of people that are grieving, and I think it'll help you. And we also have a little booklet that's a transcript from some of our videos on grief. So let us send you those things. Okay.
All right, I appreciate it. Yeah, just talking with you has helped.
Good.
Good. And yeah.
I try.
Your feelings are
I think
normal.
I try to be strong for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I could today. I just couldn't do it.
No.
Okay.
So
But that's not our goal.
Yeah.
Is to be strong for others. You know.
You need people to lean on.
That's right.
You're the mom.
First responders need to rest. You know,
Yeah.
they can't just always be rescuing people. They have to rest. Otherwise, they can't help others.
Right.
So take care of yourself. And I'm glad you called because I can even hear a difference in your voice today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Susan.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you
Okay.
so much for helping me.
Thank you, Susan.
It.
Okay, we're going to go straight to Denise in Bismarck, North Dakota. Listens on KNDR. Hello, Denise. How can we help you?
Hi. This Christmas I was at my daughter's house. She's 25. Her dad passed away 5 years ago. He had been an alcoholic, and I had kicked him out of the house, but he got really sick, so he came back, and he died suddenly, like 2 weeks before Christmas 5 years ago. When I was at her house, she told me that when she heard her dad had died, she wished it had been me because he was easier to talk to. And I'm sorry, him being the alcoholic, he was not real responsible. So I was like, I'm sorry, both parents to her, you know? And all I said was, oh, I'm sorry, it was so tough. I had another daughter. She's 29. Coming back from my first daughter's house, I had said, I'll be coming by about this time. If you're home, you know, how about call and let me know and I'll drop off your gifts. Well, she didn't call, so I drove by her house to drop the gifts off, and they were home. She had just totally blown me off. Anyway, should I just not say anything? Because I don't know what to say. I was the responsible parent. I was the one that got him through everything. And now it's like I feel dismissed.
Ouch. That is very painful.
It's very painful.
Especially when that dynamic is created and you're kind of, you know, somebody is forced into being the adult in the room. And so that had to be you. And it sounds like your husband got to be the fun the fun parent.
Yes.
Right? And they and they're missing the fun parent. And
and he was pretty unreliable too. So I was the one always picking up the pieces, like, okay, I'll get you to here, I'll get you to there, and he just wouldn't show up. You know, typical alcoholic behavior. And I'm sorry, I didn't always gloss over it, but I tried, and I just thought we could get to the grown-up stage now. You know, I know things weren't that great, but I tried. I worked full-time. I worked swing shifts. That's why Dad got to stay around as long as he did. And they know what they're doing, and I know what they're doing. And is it best just to step away?
You know, Denise, I think you were put into a no-win situation. It's so hard to do what you did. And it's really almost impossible and inhuman to try to be the father, the mother, the good cop, the
impossible.
bad cop, and to try to raise 2 teenage girls, it's really a tough challenge. And your girls are young still. They're in their 20s. And
Yeah.
your goal is to not avoid, but to attempt over the next decade to attempt to build and see what can be built as an adult friendship with conversations about what it felt like to have me as mom and dad, and also me as the hard guy, trying to get stuff done. And then you're working swing shift, you're a tired woman, so you probably weren't at your best. We're going to have a break and come back in just a moment.
For most of my life, I've been dealing with an opiate addiction.
Why is opioid addiction quickly becoming one of our nation's biggest killers? Maybe it's because it isn't only those who are addicted who are in denial.
We did what I see so many parents do, is it can't be an addiction. There's something medically wrong.
It's impossible to solve a problem when you don't know what you're up against, and families will try to find any explanation except the one that will put them on the right path.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is a family disease. It doesn't affect just the individual.
If someone you love is abusing painkillers, know what you're up against. It's time to admit it's addiction and seek treatment. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We have Christ-centered partner treatment centers around the country. Call 1-800-639-5433 or visit us online at newlife.com.
We just made a decision. We will do whatever it takes.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I did go to Take Your Life Back. That's why I continue to support the ministry with the hope that not only am I helping my own situation, that I'm helping others as well.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Conquer Worry and Anxiety by Dr. Daniel Amen, Healing is a Choice by Steve Arterburn, and Forgiving What You'll Never Forget and Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, both by Dr. Dave Stoop. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we're back, and we're talking with Denise. Denise has had a challenge because her one daughter expressed that she wished she had died, her mom had died instead of her dad. And the other daughter kind of blew her off at Christmas time. So, Milan, what do you have some thoughts?
Well, I was simply saying it's a no-win situation. And Denise, this is very hard for you. And with all the pressure you were under, you couldn't have been at your best as a parent. You would have been a stressed out parent trying to compensate for a very impotent husband who was not present but could do things for the kids or be with them. He was with them more. You were the one out working, and so it just was not a fair situation. You know, Jill's going to share with you a little bit more about how you could potentially rebuild, but Jill, what were some of the thoughts you were sharing?
Well, some thoughts that I was having, Denise, is that, you know, first of all, I feel for you. I mean, it's so hard when you sacrifice so much and knock yourself out as a mom, and then that's what you get in return. So, you know, first reaction is your hurt. And I would, you know, maybe talk with each one of them, you know, when you're in a good place and ready for this, and let them know that, you know, first of all, the one daughter, you know, what she said on Christmas was really hurtful. And yet when you, what? Okay.
It was.
It was very hurtful, right? And so it took you back a bit. But when you stopped and reflected on it, you realized that part of what she was saying is how much she misses her dad. And that, you know, that's understandable. right? And that you realize in your having to work so much, he was there a lot of the time. Even if he was irresponsible, right? He was there for some of the fun times. And you can understand how she would miss him. And that, you know, the hurtful part is that there's a comparison there, and that it doesn't have to really be that way. It's okay for her to really miss him. And also, you want to hear the ways in which, you know, as hard as you tried, that you weren't there for her. The things that she perhaps needed from you. And Denise, you have to hear the worst before their loving feelings can come into play. It's like they have this secret, and you are loving them by hearing these horrible things. And it's hard. So that's what I mean. You have to be prepared for it and able to receive it. And let them say, not in an abusive way, but say the things that upset them, right?
And Jill, you said maybe with a therapist.
Oh, well, that would be an option too. If you feel like it would be too, you know, devastating, you can have a third party and say, sweetie, you know, I realize there's some problems here. If this is how you're feeling, let's go and meet with a therapist so that you can really tell me all the things that have upsetted you and all the ways in which perhaps I let you down, even though I thought I was doing my best.
You know, I did that, Jill, with couple of my kids. And one of them, I could just feel a tension with this person. And so I made an appointment to have coffee, and I said, look, I know there are things in there that are bothering you, or things that are hurts from the past. I want to hear them, and I want to know what it was like to have me as your dad. Because I remember embarrassing you at times, or doing things that disappointed you. What was it like? And what would you want to tell me? And he took off for 45 minutes and didn't stop.
Oh, boy.
But
oh, I mean, it's not funny. I'm sorry to laugh.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. But I say that because he took 45 minutes, and it was like he had a script.
Yeah, that he'd been saying in the shower to you.
He went down this list of the things that I had done, and I said, you know what? You're right. I said, I could see how that would embarrass you. I'm so sorry I did that. I was a less experienced dad then, and I'm so sorry I would not do that to you again. You're right. That would have been embarrassing in front of your friends. I thought it was funny because I cracked myself up, but I did it at your expense, and I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And you know what? It was super healing, and I didn't say the things that bugged me about him. I left it entirely about what bugged him about me.
Yeah, it's not a get even. Well, let me tell you.
No, it wasn't
a
this for that.
No.
And I have to tell you, I get the best hugs from him from that point on.
Well, they feel heard and validated.
And this is your point to Denise.
Yes, it is.
To start there.
Yes.
Look, girls, how you were raised was not optimal. How you were raised was difficult. There was a lot of stress. What was that like for you to grow up in that home? And just as you're saying, Jill, to start with her as the mom, I can't even imagine what it would have been like for you as kids.
Right.
That's why I want to send Denise Take Your Life Back, because she's doing what is in there.
Yeah.
That book is about how to respond, not just react.
Right.
Right.
And that's what you're talking
Denise,
about.
I promise you that it works. Right? I mean, I've been in a similar situation. I've had to do it with my kids. And it's tough, but it works. You're right, Milan. Then they shower you with love. It's like you have this new connection once you've really heard them.
Okay, we're going to go to a break in just a few seconds. Before, I just want to remind folks that it's year-end giving time, and we'd appreciate if you remember New Life as one of the places that you want to donate to. And if you're mailing a check, please, if tax deduction is why you're doing this, part of the reason you're doing this, it's got to be postmarked with a December date, or it will be receipted in the new year. So consider that. And you can call it 800 New Life. Just do it by midnight Central Time on December 31. We'll be back for another call right after this.
I
I came into this thinking that my husband was the cause of many of our issues.
The New Life Intimacy and Marriage Workshop will be held online Saturday, February 13th.
But after learning about our attachment styles, I understood how our past hurts were playing into our present problems.
Join Steve Arterburn.
It's been a dream of mine for a long time to help people to grow more intimately together, and we believe that everybody has room to grow in the intimacy level of their life.
And Milan Yerkovich.
We help couples understand how their attachment style is sabotaging their current relationship, and then we teach them how to create comfort in a relationship.
To register or to find out more, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or go to newlife.com.
Here at this workshop, we had our first ever conversation without yelling, blaming, and accusing.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Hi, this is Steve Arterburn, and for 30 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addictions, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
You guys are awesome. You're a blessing to America.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in the biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first step toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, please call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door to a better tomorrow right now. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back, and let me just see if there's anything I'm supposed to be covering here. We're going to go right to the call. We're going to talk to Lynn in Weymouth, Massachusetts, and she listens on WEZE. It's a great station back there in Boston. Okay, Lynn, how can we help you?
Hi. I've been in. First off, I appreciate your program. I listen and I get a lot of insights. I'm in counseling. I've had some issues with guys over. Well, the first one was 40 years ago, and I had to go into a medical facility, mental health facility, to get on meds. I've got the diagnosis of being bipolar, schizoaffective or something.
Schizoaffective?
And, affective, yeah, it could be. Mm-hmm. And I just had a phone call. Well, okay, I wrote some things. I grew up insecure. I was born after my mom. She lost twins in a botched delivery. Mm. And I'm currently dealing with poor and ongoing communication with my sister. I called and left a message on her answering machine. That's the way we communicate best. And she returned when she knew I would be away from the house on my answering machine and said my words were hurtful, and I didn't really think they were. And my insecurity has influenced a lot of relationships. Like I said, back when I had the breakdown and current stuff, I thought relationships were more than just being a Christian interactions, but they just wanted to keep it platonic type thing.
So what's your question?
And I'm having a meltdown about now. How can I first, I guess basically right now is how can I ease over with my sister? I was going to get a card, and then I said, no, I'm not, there's too many words in it, so I was going to cut the back off and just said, I'm sorry, would you forgive me? I apologize, would you forgive me? And attach something, a gift card for her. And, but I need something for ongoing, some better instructions on how to be a better communicator, how to build a better bridge with her. That's my question.
Okay. Thank you.
How do I build bridge?
Okay, so the way we get better with learning what works and what doesn't work is with practice. And therapy groups are places where you can learn to communicate and be a part of learning how to listen. And if there's a trained therapist that's a part of that group leading it, then the whole goal is to learn to listen to one another. And in so doing, we learn to speak, we learn to control our message, the length of time we talk, we develop awareness of other people. We learn to, by other people, another word for that is audience. What is my audience experiencing while I'm talking? Have I been talking so long that I forgot I have an audience? I'm just blowing off and talking, and I'm unaware that anybody's really listening. Without a group like that, I have no practice. Isolation will never allow you to just memorize the skills. We have to be able to learn it in person with other people. So this is something that I think is really important, to find a skilled person. Fortunately, you live in the great state of Massachusetts. There are tremendous resources in that area. And Jill, what would you say to add to that? I just think
I
learning those things
in
relationship is important.
Yeah, and in a controlled environment, I think is a really good way to do that. You're talking about therapy groups with a therapist. I think even like codependency groups can be helpful because there's a structure there. There's someone facilitating, and they give guidelines for taking your turns, right, in that. So I think those kinds of exposures, Lynn, would be really important for you. And, I'm wondering if this is a lifelong, ongoing situation with your sister, or has this happened since your breakdown? But, I hear you wanting to offer...
I think it's in long term.
Long term, okay. So stuff stemming from childhood. And so this might be one of those situations where you might want to invite your sister to meet with you with a therapist and say, I really want to improve our relationship. I want to look at what I do wrong, what I do that causes you not to want to lean into relationship with me. And I'd love some insight. That would be really helpful to me. And to invite her to do that with a therapist, I think would be a great idea, Lynn. So I heard you also saying you want to apologize and offer a gift card. It sounds like you feel like you can't do enough.
That would be the Christmas present.
Oh, what?
Go ahead.
That would be the Christmas present.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. If it's a Christmas present, that's fine. I don't think you should have to, try to buy people in an apology. I think an apology, I'm so sorry for, if I was offensive, I didn't realize. Thank you for letting me know. Apology is always a good thing when we've
part of apologies too is asking more questions.
Well, that's true too. Yeah.
What specifically did I say that was hurtful?
Yeah.
It seems they need to have a voice-to-voice conversation and not just leaving voicemail messages.
Well, that's a great point, Larry. You're absolutely right, because what they're doing is they're dodging real relationship with each other, and they're just doing drop mail, types of relationship. But before I apologize to people, I ask them, what was it that hurt? What did I do that was hurtful?
Because I want to really understand before I apologize.
Exactly, so that I can perhaps change the behavior and then give you a sincere apology. Short apologies, quick, I'm sorry, sorry.
It's almost dismissive.
It's dismissive because I'm not putting enough work into finding out what it was that hurt the other person. So I think that a great apology has to do with deep understanding, which comes from asking questions that won't cause the other person to feel defensive. So what words offended you? Was it my tone? Has this happened before? What else did I say possibly that was offensive? I'd like to really know because I don't want to hurt you. And then to also be able to declare my intentions of not wanting to do that in the past, present, or the future. So I think that's an important part of apologies.
I'm thinking How We Love might be a good book for her.
Yeah, there's a lot of good questions in there to ask people in the comfort circle section, so that might help.
Lynn, we're going to send that to you. Hope it helps, and encourage you to take heed with what Jill and Mino were saying, and maybe get therapists, have a voice-to-voice conversation, see if that'll help. Before we go to the next caller, I just want to remind folks we have some workshops coming up. Every Man's Battle Online is January the 9th. Intimacy and Marriage is Valentine's Day, Saturday, February the 13th. Milan Kay and Steve Arterburn will be speaking at that, hosting that. And then Restore, Hope for a Woman's Heart, for you ladies whose husbands went to Every Man's Battle or should have gone or will go, February the 27th, one-day workshop. So, and then Life Recovery Today with Steve. It's on every Thursday at 11 o'clock Eastern Time on the NRP Network. So just go to liferecoverytoday.net, catch up on past episodes. Okay, let's take a phone call. Let's see. I want to hear Terry on line 4. Terry, how are you doing today?
I'm well, sir. How are you today?
Good, thank you. We've got a minute and a half before break. Could you get a question in?
Well, it's probably something you could even answer off the line if you wanted to. But the question that I had was, I've listened to your program, so many times, and I travel a lot, so I listen to it, and I really find some great insights on it. I find myself sometimes frustrated because I don't quite understand a few pieces that it seems to me, and I may be flawed, and missing in some of the situations where you give advice for people. So the basic crux of it is we are all sinners. We make bad choices. We make mistakes. We find ourselves living in situations where we probably know in our conscience that we shouldn't be doing it, but we get into these situations. We find ourselves in a trauma or a difficulty where our life is falling apart, but it's because of the situation.
So what's the question, real quickly?
The advice to people tends to be more based on how to get out of the pain and suffering instead of dealing with the actual choices that got you there. So I'm just curious what you guys' take is on how do you differentiate between advice and also dealing with the sin that's caused.
Okay, we'll be back right after this.
After I found the pornography on the internet, I said, you either get help or I have to leave this household.
Every day, thousands of women discover their husband is struggling with sexual integrity. And since shelter-in-place orders have gone into effect, traffic to porn sites has skyrocketed. New Life's Every Man's Battle workshop can help.
Every Man's Battle, I fought it the whole week with my wife. Within 2 hours, you could have opened a book. It showed me where my life has been ever since I was a little boy.
The Every Man's Battle workshop can be a trip to the sexual addiction emergency room. During this time of social distancing, the Every Man's Battle workshop will be held online Saturday, January 9th. Find sexual integrity, accountability, and connection. Register now to reserve a place at the Every Man's Battle online workshop. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
He said, this may have saved my life.
Every Man's Battle was a life-changing experience for me and a marriage-saving experience for me.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEWLIFE.
I was really living a very anxiety-filled life. I turned on New Life, and the topic that day was about anxiety. And just by listening, I got relief.
You can help New Life Live stay on the air by joining Club New Life today. When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, we'll send you the new member thank you gift of 7 books, including Growth Has No Boundaries by Drs. John Townsend and Henry Cloud, Take Your Life Back by Steve Arterburn and Dr. Dave Stoop, and the Emotional Freedom Workbook. Plus, there are ongoing benefits like access to the Club New Life video library, the monthly Club New Life CD or download, quarterly resources, free shipping on purchased resources, and discounts on workshops. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. Support Club New Life, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Okay, we are back. And let's see, who are we talking to?
We're talking to Terry.
Terry, there she is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Terry, we had a couple of good things. That you created some good conversation here amongst us here. And so, Milan, why don't you take off with what you were just saying?
Well, Terry, it's a good question. And when we have 3 to 4 minutes with a caller.
Sometimes less.
Sometimes less, Jill. You're right. It's really hard to create a full picture of what's going on in this person's life. We only are experiencing a sliver of what the caller chooses to give us of what's going on in their life. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. A lot of us do bring on our own problems. And
most people. It's either us or someone else who is right.
We can bring on our own problems, or others do things to us to bring on those problems, or both together. And so what we try to do is give a person, I think one of Steve Ardburn's most famous little lines is, we want to help people learn to do the next right thing. What's the next best thing they can do, as opposed to assessing and evaluating entirely the situation they're in, which is what is more better done in a counseling office with weeks and weeks of conversations. That's a different story, to help the person analyze the patterns in their lives and understand, that maybe this isn't the first time they've done this. Maybe this is something they've been doing multiple times. And so
and we don't necessarily call out people and tell them that they're sinning, right? Because to just, they've reached out to call, so that's hopeful in that they want to do something different. They want to change their behavior. And you don't change people's behavior or transform their lives by just shaming them, right? That usually shuts people down. But I think it's also assumed, if you're calling and you're sharing a mess, that somehow you got yourself into this. And I think there are times when we more specifically, make comments about situations that to stay in the situation would not be helpful to a person, right?
Right.
And those, are situations that do involve sin.
Yeah. And, it makes sense, Terry, you would form opinions about some of the callers. I think, that's very common. All we're trying to do is help them maybe take one step. And then, Jill, to your point, we made this point during the commercial break you did, that we do confront certain situations. We will say you shouldn't be living with that person if you're not married and the person hasn't asked you to marry them for 7 years. No wonder you feel conflicted.
Right.
You're putting yourself into a situation that is not healthy.
That doesn't honor God, right?
It doesn't honor God, and it's not healthy. So we will say things along those lines. But Terry, life is very messy. And everybody nobody's in clean water where you can see exactly where to go. Everybody's in muddy pools that are hard to navigate. So we're just trying to do our best.
We're trying to help people out of that.
Thank you, Terry, for your call.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We've got time for one more call. If we do it quickly, we're going to talk to Heather. Heather's on line 5, Bangor, Maine. Watches this on YouTube. Hello, Heather. How can we help you?
Hi. Well, I was just calling because I feel this detachment about the Lord, and I don't know, that I just can't seem to shake, and I just felt it for so long. And I guess I suppose it's probably partly because of sin in my life, because and I struggle with overeating, and I was I don't know, and I don't know how to stop, and I guess I think maybe if I understood more about that, maybe that would help.
So what feelings do you have detached from the Lord? You said, I feel detached from the Lord. What emotional feelings accompany that? Give me one or two emotional feelings about how you feel in that detached.
I feel rejected.
Okay.
By God.
Okay. And I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Now, Heather, who else did you feel rejected by in your lifetime? How many times prior to this with other human beings have you felt rejection?
Well, I feel like that's a theme of my life.
Okay, and that's why I asked that question, Heather, because detachment and attachment are things that happen when we experience closeness with others. And if we did not experience closeness, human closeness, with a mother, a father, or it was sporadic or intermittent, or it was chaotic or disorganized, then it's hard for us to then have adult relationships where we feel highly secure. We feel mostly insecure in adult relationships. And then spiritually, with the Lord we can't tangibly see, we
project that onto
project
him.
that, it's exactly the word I was looking for. We project that onto him too.
Right. So
Jill?
our spiritual relationship with the Lord also reflects or mirrors our horizontal relationships with people, and especially our primary relationships. So that's where some healing needs to take place. And also, Heather, I heard you saying you overeat. You know, overeating shuts down feelings. That's why people do it, because they don't like how they're feeling inside, and they use that to numb themselves out. So you are going to feel more detached in an overeating state as well.
And that's probably more common now during this COVID time.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are struggling with that.
So the solution is to begin building human relationships, oddly enough,
right,
to strengthen your relationship with the Lord. Jill's absolutely right. There's a one-to-one correlation between horizontal and vertical security with the Lord. And so we do that by volunteering, going and doing things, being involved in giving,
going to therapy,
getting involved in helping people, small groups. It has to happen in community.
What book would you suggest we send to Heather?
Get Your Life Back.
Take Your Life Back.
Because Steve and Dave talk about attachment experiences in there.
Okay. Heather, that's what we'll be sending you. I've got a scripture verse I want to close, and you guys can join in discussing this. It was one of my favorite verses out of Philippians chapter 3, verse 13 and 14. Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it. And that taking hold of it, he's talking about the perfection and the righteousness of God. But one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Christ Jesus. I think about that related to the new year coming up. You know, this is resolution time and processing and assessing the years gone by and what you want to do differently. And I just think that speaks to it so well.
Yeah, there's things we have to let go of.
Yeah.
And realize that we cannot capture the things that have been lost. But there's things to hold on to from 2020. It wasn't all bad.
Right. And a lot we learned.
Right. And to carry that forward into 2021.
And to learn we don't have control. That's one of the big things.
Right. And so what would you do differently?
Yeah.
You know, maybe some things other than I just want to lose weight.
Right.
Right. That might be one, but those usually fall short. You know, maybe it's
She's looking at us
about
when she says that. Yeah. Thanks.
I want to be more selfless, or right.
Well, thank you for listening to New Life Live. Thanks for remembering us in your year in giving. We'll be back tomorrow. God bless.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433, or write to us at New Life Ministries, P.O. Box 1029, Lake Forest, California, 92609. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Hi, thank you for watching New Life Live. You know, New Life Live is a Christian counseling program where we deal with the hard questions about life, relationships, kids, free choice, freedom of will, whatever. It's all right there on New Life Live every day, every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific. If you want to call into the live broadcast, you can find the schedule on newlife.com or click the social media link right below. You can see every episode of New Life Live on the New Life YouTube channel. Watch it with a friend, watch it later. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you'll never miss another episode. So if you want to listen on the go, download the app. The link is right below. And I hope if you need some information, if you want to get some help, you'll call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. And I'll see you next time.